everyone. Well, today is the day. Will she start? That usual YouTuber clickbait style. Will she start? Yeah, of course she's going to start. Is she not going to start? Well, sometimes they don't, but you never know. But most YouTubers, when they post a will it start video, it started. Because if it didn't start, they wouldn't be posting the video. They'd be stressing over what was going wrong, which is what people who care about their cars would be doing. I wouldn't be thinking about putting a video up. I'd be finding out what the hell's going wrong and then feeding back to a sort of prologue of the video. But anyway, let's see if Ruby starts. We are all ready to go. We're going to chuck the air filter box back on. We just want it to start. We've set the car to start on a basic level. The fuel mixture setting in the carb is at a rough idle. The timing is pretty much, we've done static timing. The static timing being that the rotor arm is pointing to number one cylinder on the compression stroke, i.e. the way you check that, you do top dead center, as if you're doing your timing belt again, get the lines marked up, get top dead center, check that the rotor arm is pointing to number one spark plug, and you have static timing. That will get you started. But as we go on, that's not good enough. We're going to be checking it. Dynamic timing is what we're going to be doing. Strobe timing. Anyway, let's see. I'm just going to show you exactly a few things I did from the last video. I mean, thank God we got a window regulator now. I'm really pleased about that. I thought I'd squeeze that little video in. I have been doing some wet sanding and cleaning around the door pillars and a few other bits and pieces around here, but just cleaning mainly, nothing really exciting. But this is the exciting video and this is what you've come to see. This is what I've been leading up for a few months, and yeah, the car ran absolutely perfectly fine. It wasn't like Beatrix. Beatrix was running, but she wasn't running particularly well. I disassembled that, did the head gasket. That was really nerve-wracking. I'm not so nerved about this car because the way it's come apart and gone back together, 95% of it has been absolutely spot on. Maybe I'm just very experienced and very good at what I do, but sometimes the car has to help you out a little bit. So I'm going to show you what I did at the end of that video, because as I say, I wasn't feeling very well in that video and I had to stop messing with the carb because I literally just, my head wasn't in it, which is why I started filling with the fluid. So I stopped the carb job and I started filling with coolant and oils. And I can say after about 4 days later, the level of water dropped because the air had obviously been squeezed out, then it stopped. There is no sign of water leaks. The oil is topped up well and truly. There is Lucas oil stabilizer, about 15% of the engine oil, because you're supposed to fill it to 20% and mix with the engine oil. So I'm not going to see any benefits of that until the engine oil has mixed with the stabilizer. That Lucas stuff will help. And if there is any blue smoke, there could be. You know, it's an older car. I'm not expecting the piston rings to be brilliant on a CVH. They always aren't. They always tend to burn a little bit. But I'm hoping that that product will benefit long term. And every oil change that I do on this car, probably I'll do another one in 6 months, it will get 20%. I didn't have 20% capacity, unfortunately, because I'd used it on another car. But anyway, let's show you what I've been doing under the bonnet and a few things before we start. As you can see, I've got some door seals all over the place. I've been taking the door seals off to have a bit of a clean round. There's a little bit more rust on the top of that one, but it's only surface and it's been cleaned down really nicely. I may just go over it again, but my God, you seen the gap in the door? My God, without that door seal, that door's shut, by the way, guys. That door is shut. Jeez, the panel gap's back in the day. Deary me. Yeah, sorry, I've got a wire hanging around because it was trapped in there, but it's not no more because I've took the seal out. But all the door seals are really good. I'm really thankful there's no breaks or tears in the rubber. It's high quality rubber. But if any of them need replacing, I can get replacements. But in general, I haven't been doing a fair amount. I have I've got to get I've got a new battery coming for the torch key, because it's a really nice feature. The other thing that I'm just going to report on, guys, in this episode, just this door, I have just done some cleaning in there. Can you see how clean that is? I've just wet sanded with 1500 grit sandpaper the inside. I've got to go over again, but it's remarkably clean. I've done all around the edges of the doors. Unfortunately, this door card's going to have to come off again because I don't know why I didn't spot this. I was really blind not to. But the twat who decided to butcher the lock, why can I not see it? He's not only butchered the surround, but he's actually snapped the inside. I mean, the key goes in and it does actuate the lock. And the central locking motors all work fine. But you see this bit here? This is the flap that closes, this bit here. So, what am I going to do? Am I going to have to replace that lock and then have another key? Oh no, I'm not doing that. You know, I had a P6 many years ago, and it had one key for the driver's door, one key for the passengers, one key for the ignition, one key for the boot. Honestly, what a joke. It had a door off different cars, basically. I don't want this car starting to become another Frankenstein of a car with its locks and different keys, because you think, oh, I ain't got the right key for that door. Honestly, it's a pain. What I'm hoping to do is retain this key, but I've actually managed to find a genuine driver's door cylinder repair kit, because this is, I can't remember what sort of lock it is. It's like a Tilly, I think it's a Tilly key. Oh, I can't remember the name of it now. But basically, you've got little pieces of metal, that little like cams, and you have to match them to the key. I won't show you my key because you'll probably... these cars are so easy to steal, it's untrue. But the ironic thing is, when somebody did this to the car a week before I bought it from Rob, the door was flicking open the whole time. Rob did not lock the car, and someone was going with a screwdriver, and they didn't even... Oh my goodness me. I thought that sort of crime was a crime from the 1990s. I don't believe that people in 2023 are still going about trying to steal these blasted things. I mean, come on, honestly. Right, so that's on the cards, but I've got to figure out how to... That lock, by the way, I've got a feeling I've got to drill the guide. The guide is there's like a guide atop of the lock, because you've got like a sort of clip that you pull up, and that clip won't come up because there's a plastic piece that holds the blooming guide in place, and that's riveted. So I've got to drill the rivets out of that. It's going to be an absolute faff, that is. But I have got something coming for that, so we'll look at that at a certain time. I just noticed in the sunlight is that we just got a few minor kinks, but honestly, there's nothing. There's like one there, there's one on that side. But I have been clay barring. I have not, I think, what did I do? Yeah, I've polished this wing, and I don't think you can tell. No, you can't. At the moment, you can't really tell because the sunlight is quite direct. There is a bit of paint fade, naturally oxidization, but I'm returning it to how it used to be, and I'm really thankful for that. But anyway, I'm going to get under the bonnet, stop waffling, and crack on. Right, I'm going to try and forgive the sun today. It's a really nice day to do a start-up. I'm really pleased about the weather holding out a little bit, and I've been very lucky with the weather so far this winter. We haven't had the best weather, but I've managed to sneak my videos in when as required. Now, I'm just going to remove this out the way. I just popped it on. Oh, come on. What the hell? I think I just screwed this in, that's why. I don't know why I screwed this in, to be honest. So I'm just going to take this cover off the air filter housing. And you're going to see exactly what I've been up to. When I wasn't feeling very well, I did come back the day after and have a bit of a mess around off camera, because I just wanted to... that thing always comes out. Right, I'll just pop that down there. Okay. Right, the most important thing is I've topped that up again. It dropped to about... When I initially topped it up, it was above the max, and it dropped to between min and max. Fantastic. There's no water leaking from that hose. It wasn't the flange, although I did take the flange off and I put some RTV to top up the Hylamar a little bit. I think the Hylamar, for me, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but actually I don't think it was the Hylamar fault, it was the hose. There was another hose down here that needed tightening up as well. So there was a couple of things. This is what happens, guys, when you put things back together. There's always something that you didn't quite do right, no matter how thorough you are. And I'm very thorough, as you know, guys. Anyway, I want to take you to the back here. Now, we had a bit of an issue with the choke cable. Now, there's only one way of putting it. We've managed to correct it. How have I managed to correct it? Well, you see, the problem we had before is, you see this tube here? Well, this tube was down here. Can you see all this sort of, the surface has gone a little bit, but this was glued to this piece. And we were missing the original piece that sat here in this clip. That's why every time you pull the choke cable, there'd be a bit of the inner ferrule catching on this clip, and it wouldn't basically allow you to pull the choke wouldn't basically open fully, basically. So the choke could be still stuck on even though you've put the cable all the way back in. So that was a bit of a faff, and I now moved that, and now that's nicely clamped, and this will just move. And that is exactly how it's supposed to be now. So that's the first thing sorted. But also, what I was finding is, this is the thing, and I have to thank my friend Daniel Ball. You have a lovely Ford Capriza. You gave me the instruction manual for this carburetor specifically. Daniel has the Ford carburetor Haynes manual. It's a specialist manual with all the carburetors in, and it's given me all the statistics. In fact, I've got it in my pocket somewhere. I've got all the post-it note. Actually, it's on the dashboard. I've got all the details on that post-it note for all the settings required for this particular car and carburetor. So this is what I'm going to go off today. So thank you so much, Daniel. This episode is on you, because without those details, the Haynes manual for the Mark III Fiesta was a bit more vague. But without that manual, I discovered, well, I wouldn't have discovered a little issue that I actually created for myself when I put the carburetor back together. And there was always one thing that you forget to put back on wrong, and it was all these little return springs. And I put a return spring on back to front, because what was going on is I was putting the choke back in, but it was stopping about there. And it wouldn't, you'd have to literally pull this lever to force it to shut, and then it would go back to there if you let go. Why was it not returning? So when you put the choke off, the choke is still on. The carburetor would still be on the choke. So that'd be horrendously bad for the car. Why was it going on? I'll tell you why. There's a little return spring right where my finger is. See that spring there, the tip of my finger? That spring, I'll put it on back to front. So basically, it wasn't actually, but if I release that now, there you go. It's forcing this lever that way. It wasn't before. It had no strength. I put it on the bloody wrong way round, didn't I? What a silly boy. That is, unfortunately, what can happen with this kind of thing. So that is now ready. That is now prepared. Now, there is a little measurement I have to do. What I'm going to do before we start it up, there's a few things we need to go through, and I'm just going to take you in the car, and we're just going to have a look at a couple of things. Right, these are my notes. Thank you very much, Daniel. This has all come from the official Ford Haynes manual of Ford carburetors, and for 2832 DFTM with the twin Venturi, this is what we need. Now, I have done the flow tight. We did that. I did it to spec. When I did the carburetor, the flow tight has been adjusted. It wasn't quite correct. Now, we're going to ignore all these for a second, because we're going to come to them later. The main one is the choke pull down, 2.7 to 3.2 millimeters. You're asking, what the heck does that mean? Well, basically, when you put the choke fully on, it's a cold day, and we're going to do that in a second. Choke's fully on, okay? Now, what will happen when we start the car is this diaphragm, which operates a rod, which basically, it does this basically. When you start the car, it creates a vacuum, and this diaphragm sucks in, and it sucks a little rod. You see this rod here? What's happening here? Work it out, guys. the choke plate is opening just a fraction. A fraction. Why? Well, the main problem back in the day is when people used to start, people weren't brilliant at using chokes. People were okay at them, but the frequent problem with a lot of older cars, with older carburetors, without any of this gubbing, is people would start the car on full choke and leave it on full choke for minutes. That is not necessary. If you are having to leave the car on full choke, and if you take it off just a fraction within a few minutes and it stalls, there's a carburetor problem. You've got carburetor issues and it needs to be tuned up properly. Because what should happen is you start on the full choke. As soon as the engine starts, you should push it in just a little bit, maybe a third of the way in. That's it. That's it. Okay. Now, what this system does is it makes sure that there's no user error. So those people that keep leaving the choke on, don't worry, you can leave the choke on fully in the car, but what's going to happen on this side is the car will go, no, we're going to open it for you a little bit. We're just going to let a little bit of air in just to make sure that we do not stall the car and overfuel it. And that's what you'll be doing. You'll be flooding the carburetor otherwise. So that's what that choke pull down is. It is simply a pull down. Now that is a correct measurement. Now the measurement is 2.7 millimeters to 3.2. You get a drill bit around that measurement, stick it in there, and you adjust the measurement. You can do it. There's a plug here. You get a screwdriver in and you wind this screw in and out to get that correct measurement. And that is precisely right. It wasn't before. I'll tell you something, guys. I don't know why it wasn't right, because obviously maybe someone's messed with this before, but that was not correct. It was the wrong opening. It was opening like 5 or 6 millimeters. That's not correct. Now, obviously, this was when the carburetor was brand new, and things may have changed to the point where that may not be applicable, but that's what the book says, and I've gone by the book. There's some things we're going to do by the book. There's some things we're not going to. Anyway, that's enough of that. That post-it note we're going to refer to in a second, but we are ready to go. Now, I'm going to leave the air filter off. I'm not at risk of blowing anything into the car. I need a full amount of air. I've obviously, at the end of the last video, you saw me cranking the car. The starter motor that I rebuilt works perfectly fine. I'm really pleased about that. The alternator, I did an alternator test. I'll do another test in a second. I'll check that that's working, but I think it's working absolutely fine. No problems. I'm just going to, I don't know why I disconnected this for a start. Yeah, that might not help. I don't know why I disconnected that. I might have done that before. I don't know, forgotten. Brilliant. So the battery's all ready. The battery connections are all on. The oil is ready. The coolant is ready. The fuel pump is ready. The hoses are clamped on with fantastic hose clamps. So now we can start the car. Obviously, because this is a mechanical pump, it will take quite a few bursts to get this engine going. I think that anyway. But I'm going to go in the car and I'm going to leave you on my tripod and cross fingers. Now, for those of you who didn't realise, in the last episode, when I was cranking it, the oil pressure light went out on cranking. That's a very, very good sign. The main thing is, when you're starting a car up in this situation, is to make sure that light does go out. If that light doesn't go out, you need to stop the car straight away. It's imperative. You cannot run a car with the light on, because when that oil pressure light comes on, the damage may have been done, because that pressure light only comes on at very, very low PSI, very low. It's one of them idiot lights. If it comes on, the damage may have been done. It's a very stupid system. Anyway, fingers crossed. Choke is fully on. Let's go. Go on. Almost. It wants to. Bit of gas might help. Go on. Yes! Yes! Now, I've got the choke fully on. Let's show you what I meant. That started well. There you go. It's opened. There you go. That is that working. But yeah, we've got a lot of smoke going on there with the breather. I'm going to be very cruel to this. That's what you're doing when you do the choke. And look at that. It's gone straight back in. There you go. That diaphragm has stopped. It's let go because the engine has stopped. There's no vacuum. The choke is shut. Oh, I'm really pleased about that. That started really, really nicely. I'm afraid there's going to be a whiff of high temperature paint smell going on. You know, when you've painted your exhaust, it's going to smell quite badly. That is really good. And it's really quiet. Really, really quiet. Ah, that's really good. Right, let's start it up again. And I'm going to leave it for a few more minutes. This is a very short process, but a very casual one. It's reluctant to actually start again. Almost. Now this is where people go, oh, I need more choke, I need more choke. No, you don't need more choke. Because I've got a feeling that there is enough fuel in that car. I tell you what, this car started up so easily. I'm so pleased it's untrue. But yeah, we're just getting a few puffs. But I think what we need is slightly less choke now. Because this is what I'm saying. You keep it on that, it's just not going to start. Look. Oh, it is going to start. Oh, that's weird. Okay, it started now. Right, I'm just going to push it back in. Seems a bit less happy. See if I do this. Ooh. Ooh, the choke's off. No, just bring it back up. That choke's off. Ooh, now that just indicates maybe the fuel mixture is a bit rich. See. Oh, yeah, stalled. See, it's not quite coping without the choke, but I'm just going to put it on halfway and we're going to leave it there now. There we go. Just a bit of gas. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for a second to just let it warm up. So far, I cannot see blue smoke. That's a very good sign indeed. That is ridiculously quiet. That's quieter than it was before. Mind you, before, if you remember, the idle speed was at stupid levels, like 1100. What I need to do is just wait for it to warm up just a little bit. Now leave that air filter off. Let's see, we've got some breathing going on. You can see that. Yeah. I'm very tempted now. No sounds coming from the belt. That belt is well tensioned. I'm really, really pleased so far. Fingers crossed. Now, whew, I could smell that. Yep, that's starting to burn a little bit again. Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. Now, I'm just going to check a couple of things. Yep, those fuel pipes are good. I can't see any leaks. The exhaust is a bit quieter, that's the main thing. We are idling at, ooh, that's quite, that's actually good idle. I think the idle should be about 850, give or take 50, it says by the book. I'm just going to consult that. Yep, 850 RPM, give or take 50. I might put it up to 900. It depends. If the engine is happy at 900, you keep it at 900. It's give or take. It depends how the engine is happy. Remember, this is a 34-year-old 50,000 mile engine. There's going to be some wear and tear. You know, I'm just going to see. Well, it's not happy. Okay. Keep the choke out. It's not quite happy without that choke on. Oh. Just give it some gas, gentle gas, and that just allows a bit of fuel vaporization to take place within the carb. It gets rid of all the crap. If there's a bit of over fueling going on, you put too much fuel in there, doing that gets rid of the excess fuel in the carb and it settles things down a little bit. It's all coming back to me from my P6 days. You've got to, fine fettling, it takes a while. So I think that answers the question, will it start? Now, what I did do before is I tested the start inhibitor. When I put it in reverse and drive and low, the car did not start. There was no crank from the starter key, which is great. You put it in park or neutral, it starts. I've had to just put the choke on just a little bit more because it's not entirely happy. The base settings are kind of all over the place at the moment, but it's warming up, the temperature's going up, that's the main thing. But let's see what happens when I put the gearbox in reverse. Are we going to get the charismatic whine? Oh yes. Perfect. Perfect. Gearbox works. Reverse and drive all work. I mean, I could put it in low, but if it works in drive, it will work in low. It's fine. Perfect. Now, the problem is with this engine is it's not quite happy with where it's sitting, but we're going to let the temperature go up as much as we can. I don't want to over fuel it, so let's just see if I can put the choke in. Oh, that's not happy. Oh dear. No, it's not happy at all. As soon as I push the choke in, nah, it won't have any of it. Okay, no problem. Some cars perform better than others, but the carb is not tuned at all. It's really not. And I don't believe the fast idle screw is also working effectively either, so that could be a problem. But the fast idle screw needs adjusting as well. We'll do that all in another day. But, okay. Well, I'm telling you now, I'm just trying to get it against the black shadow. There is a hint of blue. Hint. That's far better than what it was before. Yeah, you can see that now. Yeah, okay. I'm very happy with that. I think the oil stabilizer will help. I do think there's a piston ring sealing issue, well, just with the oil getting into the cylinders, but I do believe the stabilizer will work. We've got a bit of paint burning off, but that is so quiet it's untrue. But what I am going to do now is just cut it out a little bit because we don't need the choke. Oh, go on, you can do it. Go on. Right, I'm going to have to be quick about this. The idle speed has got to come up. Where's the screw? Need the screw. Come on. That's it. Come on, screw it. That's it. Right, I brought the RPMs up. The choke is open completely. Now that's idling a bit more faster now. So we've got no choke. It's a bit too fast, but for me it will do for the purposes for now. I might have to wind it back fractionally. In fact, if I can, it has to be micro turns. Hear that? It's coming down a little bit. It smells of paint. 1,000 RPM. We could try again. Here we go. We will have a more accurate adjustment of all this very, very soon. Yeah. Okay, we've aimed towards about 900. If I lower it down a fraction more, that'll be great. You have to keep doing this, guys. This is how it is with carbs. That's it. It seems quite happy there. 850 to 900 RPM. Seems quite happy. I don't want it being too low. And if I put it in drive, what's going to happen? You see, this is the thing. It's now got to temperature. Yeah, that's good. I love that sound. It's such a space age whine sound, it's untrue. Beatrix's gearbox doesn't have that. It's essentially the same gearbox. Put it in park. I think that's fractionally lower than what I'd want, but it's still rough. That's perfect. It's happy now. It's not struggling. Brilliant. Okay. Now I'm going to actually put the fan on. Yeah, we're getting heat. Oh my god, every time I turn this fan on, it smells like my uncle's Ford Sierra back in the day. They all smell the same. It's the foam. Oh, I smell the 80s. That's my childhood, that is. Oh. What's the dot? Windscreen down. Is the dot this way? Yeah, it is. Does that dot mean face by any chance? Okay, that's quite nice. That's nice and hot. Just keep the fan on for a second. It seems to be all burning off. That's ridiculously quiet. There's still a little bit of paint and exhaust manifold. It sounds ridiculously quiet. Obviously quieter when I put the air filter back on. Lots of magic stuff is going on there, guys. Yeah, that's all good. Oh, we've got expansion. Just make sure the cap's on. Oh, it wasn't. Well, that wouldn't help. The cap wasn't on fully. That's a very, very bad thing. But that level should come down. Hopefully it will circulate. I'm just going to give it a bit of a squeeze. There should be stuff coming from there. Yeah, and I'll just give that a bit of a squeeze. Watch your hand near the belt, guys. Good. Look at leaks, if there's any leaks. Unfortunately, we got some weird. What the hell is that? I need to find out what the heck that is. I wonder if that's trapped water. What the heck is that? I mean, to be fair, it is exhaust gases, but what the hell? I hope that that is not an exhaust gasket that seems to be on its way. If that is, I've got to take the manifold off and have a look at that. I'm not so sure about that. I don't know. That's a weird one. Let it cool. Turn it off and let it cool. Fantastic. Right, now I'm going to let this car cool down before the next episode, which will be the full tune of that carburettor. So it starts, it's hot through the heaters. We don't appear to be have any leaking, but I've got a feeling that in that exhaust gasket is not good. In fact, I'm getting remnants of, I think it looks like oil. That's not a very good sign if it's putting a bit of oil out. But I couldn't see any blue smoke out the back, which is very curious. There was absolute minimal out the backside, a lot better than it was before. So I think my what I've done is vastly improved the engine, but I can't really see any leaks down there, not that I can see, but it's gone a bit black around the edges. Maybe that's just that looks like, I swear that looks like oil. Or maybe just coke, because these engines aren't exactly the cleanest. So I'm going to be scratching my head over that. If I have to change the exhaust gasket, then so be it. Then I'm going to have to make sure I'm very careful with these exhaust manifold bolts. That wouldn't be too much of an absolute faff, considering the access. And there's very few things that I'd have to take off. It literally take me 2 seconds to take this heat shield off, and then we can start getting at the manifold. So I might actually consider doing that at some point. But yeah, at the end of the day, if the exhaust manifold gasket is slightly leaking, that's not a problem, because that won't affect the carb side as such. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. I will continue with the tuning, and I'll just bear in mind that that probably has to be done at some point. It's the one thing I didn't change, and now I'm thinking, yeah, I should have changed that. So I'll have a look, and well, getting a exhaust manifold gasket for a CV8 shouldn't be too bad. But on the whole, gearbox works absolutely fine. I need to actually do a proper fluid check of that. I didn't actually do it. I should have done it today. But next episode we'll be tuning this car. So as far as I'm aware, the alternator is charging. Everything appears to be tickety-boo. I'm really pleased. It is a bit reluctant to come off the choke, but that's because the carburettor isn't completely adjusted properly. But the main thing is, and this is the important point for the next episode, is that the idle speed is roughly where it needs to be when the car is warm. I've set it about 900, 950. That's exactly where I want it to be, because we need it to be there for when we look at the timing. That's quite important. Anyway, guys, you take care. I'll see you in another episode. It will be very shortly. In fact, I might be filming it this afternoon, but for you, it might be in 2 days' time. Take care.